Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of our college football best teams of the 2010s decade tournament. Hope you guys enjoyed part 1, and let's get things started here. The 2019 LSU and 2018 Alabama, Joe Burrow versus Tua. And Alabama, they pull off the upset here, 44-41 in a very high-scoring game. Tua threw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 450 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, this one is an upset, obviously, because 2019 LSU by many is viewed as the best team ever. But with that being said, remember when 2019 LSU, they played Alabama? They only beat them by 1 possession. Tua was hurt that game. Alabama had multiple possessions when they got near the end zone. They didn't score. Remember, Tua just fumbled without even being touched one time. And this is that same group of Alabama players. Now, personally, I thought LSU was going to win this whole tournament, if not for Florida State. I did pick Florida State, but I thought LSU was going to be the biggest threat and the team to get in the way. But by the looks of it, 2018 Alabama is here to play. Beat 2019 LSU 44-41, and they'll be moving on to the third round. Next up, 2015 Alabama, 2016 Clemson. And Alabama takes the victory here 34-20, led by Derrick Henry, who ran for 300 yards on 31 carries. Holy, 4 carries of 20-plus yards in this game. Yeah, Derrick Henry went absolutely nuts. Deshaun Watson, 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Just wasn't enough as Alabama moves on. And we have an all-Alabama matchup in the next round. 2015 versus 2018. We'll see what team is better under Nick Saban. The next matchup, 2012 Alabama and 2017 Oklahoma. And this one sees Alabama take the victory 30-17 over the Sooners. 2012 Alabama moving on to the next round. Baker Mayfield, 255 yards passing for Oklahoma. A.J. McCarron, 135 yards passing for Alabama. Eddie Lacy on the ground, 110 yards. And then Rodney Anderson on Oklahoma had 108. Wasn't enough. Alabama's moving on. 2016 Alabama. In 2010 TCU. Now here we go. TCU, they got an opportunity here to stop it from being an all-Alabama third round on the left side of the bracket. Now, I know a lot of people probably don't want to see that. But like I said, TCU, they have an opportunity to stop that. And here we go. And TCU, they pull off the upset 43-29. TCU does it again. Back-to-back upsets. Personally, I thought they were going to lose to Ohio State in the first round. This is pretty shocking. They're going on to the third round. Andy Dalton, 124 yards passing. If I told you that, you probably thought TCU lost the game. But no, Matthew Tucker ran for 231 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bo Scarborough for Alabama, 12 attempts, 132 yards. But he didn't have any touchdowns on the ground. Jalen Hurts, 200 yards passing. But that one interception, that might have costed Alabama. Nonetheless, TCU is moving on to the third round. Now, going over to the right side, 2018 Clemson versus 2015 Clemson. Clemson guaranteed a spot in the next round here. Just what year is it? And it's looking like 2018 Clemson, led by Trevor Lawrence. They take down Deshaun Watson and company, 27-19. Justin Ross, D. Higgins, Hunter Renfrow, the excellent receiving core for Clemson. Huge part in why they won this game. Trevor Lawrence, 185 yards passing. But Deshaun Watson, in a losing effort, 23 for 29. 335 yards and 1 touchdown. He actually did really good. Losing by 8, though. Looks like 2018, they got a field goal there with 6 minutes left, and that made it an 8-point game. So, yeah, Deshaun, he must have had a chance, go down, tie up the game. Failed to do so. Trevor Lawrence moving on. Next matchup, 2017 Alabama, 2018 Oklahoma. Oklahoma pulled off that stunner in the first round against LSU. And here it looks like they're going to do the same thing. They take down 2017 Alabama 40-36. Kyler Murray is not messing around here in the tournament. 2 touchdowns in this game, 309 yards passing. He didn't have any rushing yards on 15 attempts. I'm sure he got sacked a couple of times, which may have taken it away. But yeah, nonetheless, Oklahoma, they're moving on. They're pulling off a TCU, taking down Alabama. Alabama started out 3-0 in this round, back-to-back losses, and they have another opportunity here to bounce back. 2011 Alabama, 2019 Ohio State for a spot in the third round. And Ohio State, once again, Alabama goes down in Ohio State, 40-27. Justin Fields, Chase Young, absolute loaded roster. They move on. They take down Nick Saban. Chase Young had 2 sacks in this game. Justin Fields, 202 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Dobbins ran for 165 yards. Trent Richardson, 27 carries, 140 yards, and a touchdown. Just wasn't enough as the Tide, they lose by 13. And Ohio State's moving on. 2012 Notre Dame, 2013 Florida State is the next one. Florida State, they pull out the 9-point victory, 26-17. Jameis Winston, 238 passing yards. No touchdowns, though. Did throw an interception. Really, Florida State, they struggled on offense in this game. Everett Golson, he only threw for 176 yards, touchdown. But he also had an interception as well. And the Seminoles, they're moving on to the third round. Next up, the Alabama Bowl. 2018 Alabama, 2015 Alabama. Let's see what happens here. And holy, 2018 Alabama blew the doors off of Derrick Henry and company. This one's kind of surprising, to be honest. Derrick Henry, 30 carries, 136 yards. But yeah, 2018 Alabama, this offense was no joke. I mean, just look at the receiving room. This is crazy. Waddle, Devontae Smith, Henry Ruggs down there, Jerry Jeudy, Irv Smith Jr., then you got Najee Jacobs, Damian Harris, And yeah, this team was loaded. And yeah, they beat them by 29 points. 2018 Alabama is going on to the Final Four. Next up, here we go. We got TCU again against Alabama. Story of the tournament so far, 2010 TCU, Andy Dalton. See what they can do against 2012 Alabama. Holy, TCU, they do it again. They pull off the upset, take down Eddie Lacy. 2012, the national champs, Alabama, 23-16. Andy Dalton, 14 of 21, 170 yards. Once again, like, if I tell you that, you probably don't think they win. And Tucker only had 64 yards rushing. So what did go well? Well, A.J. McCarron didn't have any touchdowns, and he threw an interception. And Alabama couldn't get the running game going. Eddie Lacy, 19 carries for only 59 yards, which is pretty surprising. But yeah, TCU, they got the job done. They're moving on to the Final Four to take on Alabama. And going over to the right side, our next matchup, 2018 Clemson, 2018 Oklahoma. Oklahoma, just like TCU, pulling off upset after upset. Finds them with 2018 Clemson, who's the number 2 overall seed. And that's where their road's going to end. 25-58. An absolute blowout here. Kyler Murray, 300 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. That's probably what ultimately lost Oklahoma in this game. In the 2 games prior to this, Kyler Murray played excellent. Ton of yards, ton of touchdowns, no turnovers. But yeah, 3 interceptions. Very hard to beat a really good team when you have 3 turnovers like that. Clemson's moving on to the Final Four. And this is probably the most anticipated matchup in this round. 2018 Ohio State, 2013 Florida State. Let's see how it goes down. And Ohio State pulls out the victory here by 12, 47-35. In my opinion, 2019 Ohio State, one of the best rosters to not win a championship. This team was absolutely loaded. And they take down 2013 national champs, Jameis Winston, Heisman Trophy winner. He's going home. Justin Fields outplayed him, 4 touchdowns, 240 yards through the air. He also ran for 38 yards on the ground. In Ohio State, they're going to be taking on 2018 Clemson in the Final Four. Back over to the left side of the Final Four. 2018 Alabama, 2010 TCU. Let's see if TCU can beat Alabama for the 3rd straight time. And no, they cannot. 2018 Alabama, 31-13. Probably the best team in the tournament so far. Tua, this receiving core, Najee Harris. They got the job done once again. Pull out the victory by 18. And Alabama has a seat in the national title. On the right side of the Final Four, 2018 Clemson, 2019 Ohio State. Clemson pulls out the 7-point victory here. I figured this would be a really good game given how the 2019 matchup went with these 2 teams. Pretty much the same rosters except Clemson that didn't have those 4 first-round defensive linemen. Other than that, pretty much the same roster across the board. Clemson, they get the victory here. Etienne ran for 178 yards on the ground. Trevor Lawrence, 250 through the air. No touchdowns, do a pick. Travis Etienne at the very end of this game, a minute left, 66-yard touchdown run. And that ultimately won Clemson the game with a minute left. So this is a classic here, just like the Fiesta Bowl between these two. And Clemson is moving on to the national championship game to play Alabama. All right, it's time to see just how accurate this simulator is. For the first time all tournament, we have a matchup with two teams that actually played each other. 2018 Alabama, 2018 Clemson. Remember, Clemson, they smoked Alabama in this game. Tua's first pass was a pick six, and that really set the tone for how this game went. And in the tournament, Clemson, just like in real life, wins 35-21. Not as bad of a blowout. Nonetheless, two-possession game. And Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, Dabo Swinney, they're going to win this tournament. Tua had 3 touchdowns and 1 pick for Alabama. But Trevor Lawrence, 327 yards, 3 touchdowns, takes the victory. And 2018 Clemson is the champion of our 32-team bracket of the best teams from the 2010 decade. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.